Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you're all doing wonderful. Today we're jumping into more Reddit stories about entitled people, crazy people, and everything in between. So let's begin. My lawyer and I laid a trap for my adulterous, alcoholic wife in my divorce. When I got divorced, my alcoholic wife of 18 years had started another affair, this time with her addictions counselor. My lawyer and I laid a trap for them. Just in case you don't know, intimate relations between a counselor and patient are very frowned upon by the regulatory bodies, and I was more than pissed after putting her through rehab, $25,000, which I didn't have to do, only to have her fall back into her old behavior. Shortly before the divorce was finalized, I filed a complaint with the state body licensing health professions. Knowing they were in some peril because of their unprofessional relationship, I had already gotten him fired from a major teaching hospital. She had backed off her exorbitant demands. I paid her a very modest settlement, got custody of the 3 tween-age kids, plus got child support. Her lawyer naturally included a clause in the divorce where I had to agree to not say anything negative about her lover and their relationship. But the lawyer screwed up and never asked if I had already filed charges, and thus didn't require me to rescind them. Her lawyer had assumed I was just bad-mouthing them to neighbors and friends, and it never occurred to the lawyer that we were doing much more. When the Board of Health Professions responded to my complaint shortly after the divorce was finalized, I told them that it would take a subpoena to get me to testify. A subpoena trumps an agreement in a divorce settlement. They were happy to oblige. They stripped his license and placed him on a register of sanctioned health professionals. He never worked again. They were broke in a handful of years, and she divorced him when the money ran out. In the interim, his mother had died, leaving a fair-sized estate, so it took longer than I expected. Oh, and the frosting on the cake was that his wife and I traded notes, notably hotel receipts from the time of their affair. That helped each of us in our respective divorces. Justice was served. Rude and really weird woman in supermarket. I've had a service dog for more than 8 years and never had any serious problems with having him out in public. You know, the usual people petting him without asking. One person pulled at his tail, but that's about it. Until not long ago. Recently he and I were in a local food chain grocery store, and a woman, I guess we could call her a new age dressed Karen, came over to me and called my service dog make-believe because I was not blind. My dog wears a vest that I eventually put labels on that say, diabetic alert and seizure alert. And I carry medical papers from my doctor because we sometimes fly between countries. Of course, in the US, I don't have to disclose my illnesses, but I do on his vest, so it was there for her to see. Yet she kept insisting in a rather loud voice that I was not allowed to have a dog contaminating all the food because I wasn't blind. We were still towards the front of the store, and the manager told her I was allowed to have the dog and to not bother me. We both walked in different directions. Like 10 minutes or so later, I was at the deli waiting for my number to be called. Thank goodness there were other people there. That woman came stomping over and shouted, "She's not blind, that's a make-believe service dog," and grabbed his leash and tried to pull him away from me. I grabbed it back, and some of the other people at the deli told her to let go and calm down. The manager of the deli and some employees took her away. She was swearing and yelling about my filthy make-believe service dog, and all kinds of lies, like she saw him licking a meal in the meat case, and peeing, she used the vulgar word, on the produce. I wanted to press charges for harassment and trying to steal my service dog, but they told me they kicked her out and she drove away. No, you can't have your room for free because you clogged your toilet. So I'm a morning shift front desk worker at a hotel, and as soon as I got in today, the audit shift let me know there was a room who said her toilet wasn't flushing last night. He said she didn't want him to look at it last night, so I'm like, okay, she probably wasn't that bothered by it then. It was in the middle of the night anyways, so she'll probably just ask for a discount for the inconvenience when she checks out. The reckoning occurs approximately an hour and a half later. Guest comes to the desk and tells me that her toilet would not flush last night and she also didn't sleep due to people slamming doors. She is irate and says she does not want to pay for the room. I tell her that I understand and I'm very sorry she had an uncomfortable stay. I let her know straight away that I can't comp the room entirely, but I'm happy to knock $20 off of her bill for the inconvenience. She decides that this shall not stand and demands to speak to my manager. I say, unfortunately, for me, I'm the only person on duty at the moment. I am happy to give you my manager's card so you can send her an email. but at this time all I can do is give you a discount. Well, what do you do if there's an emergency? What do you do if someone dies? Well, in the case of an emergency, of course, I would call my manager, or the appropriate authorities. But my manager does not have a work phone though, so I can't give you a number to call, besides the front desk, at which point I can happily transfer you to their office phone so you can leave them a message. No, give me the number, I want to talk to someone above you. I can't give you their personal number. I can contact them myself and see what they'd like to do. Yes, do that. I'll wait over here. I proceed to text both my general manager and guest services manager, only get a response from the GSM. GSM tells me to give her points toward a free night if she's a member. Otherwise, the most we can do is a $30 discount. I relay this to the guest, and she is of course not happy with this. I want to talk to them myself. Give me the number. I can't give you her personal number, but I'll happily take down your number so she can call you on Monday. Or you can leave her a message as well. This is her card. It has her email on there as well as the number for the front desk. She was of course not happy with this either, but I then got the idea that I wasn't going to budge any further. She then started saying that she was feeling sick and like she was going to faint because of how stressful this was. I asked her if she wanted me to call her an ambulance and she said no. So I guess her dramatically dabbing at her neck with the napkin was all the medical attention she needed. I also found out later on that it looks like she may have tampered with the toilet. The housekeeping manager was able to fix it and told me it looked like the individual links for the chain inside the tank were literally pulled apart. Like it didn't snap. Over half of the links looked like they were bent apart by hand and then just tossed loosely into the tank. So there's that too. Running theory right now is that she broke the toilet on purpose to try and get her room for free, because we also didn't have anyone else complain about noise. I'm not even halfway through my shift, by the way. Am I the a-hole for smacking a teenager? I had my 6-year-old daughter at the park earlier today, as there was a community event going on nearby, and there would be a lot of kids for her to play with. It didn't take long before I noticed a huge teenager, I'm guessing 16 to 17, playing extremely rough with his siblings. Like almost sadistically rough. Shoving them off the play equipment, slapping them as they came down slides, that sort of thing. Several parents were discussing it and multiple asked him to cool it and were ignored. I told my daughter to play with the kids away from him and he was getting progressively more rough, and his parents were nowhere in sight. Eventually, her and a small handful of children around her age, and a couple of parents broke away from that group to play at a smaller jungle gym nearby. All was well until this guy and one of his brothers came over, and he tried to get his younger brother to encourage the other kids to play fight. Myself and other parents told him off. For the next few minutes, he climbed the outside of the jungle gym, ran up slides, threw swings over the bar, and people were actively looking for his parents, and some suggested calling the cops. I was about to call my daughter back over to leave, and told him he was acting like an idiot. Apparently, this set him off, because as my daughter was walking down the jungle gym stairs, he slammed into her from behind with his hip as hard as he could, and launched her off onto the ground and immediately goes, "Sorry, I'm an idiot." I ran over, smacked him in the face, and immediately pulled my daughter up to safety and put her behind me. Again, my daughter is 6, and this kid was huge. I'm 5'8", 200 pounds, and he was a head taller than me, and at least my weight, and he checked my kid like a hockey player. Here's the kicker. His effing parents had been 20 feet away this whole time, and had outright ignored this behavior, and didn't speak up when other parents asked around for them, as I found out when suddenly his mother and father materialized to investigate. The kid is sitting on the ground crying, saying I hit him and to call the police. Other parents advocated for me. And I swear to God, this guy starts yelling at his son despite not giving a crap 5 minutes prior. Doesn't say a word about me hitting him and rounds up his other kids. Doesn't call the cops. Doesn't say crap. Other parents are checking in, making sure my daughter is okay. I don't feel like I'm the a-hole, but maybe I have a biased view and handled it poorly, so I could use some perspective. Violence isn't usually my go-to. But seeing my child slam the ground that hard and someone that big standing over her set something off, and I viewed him as an immediate threat to her safety. I just reacted to keep her safe and get her out of there. I hit him hard enough to floor him, and clearly he wasn't normal for his age, so I maybe went a bit too hard. I don't think OP was the a-hole here at all, and I think most people would agree. The way OP reacted seems to be pretty appropriate. This kid was obviously being aggressive, and OP just reacted to protect their daughter. That kid's parents seemed to know this too, which is why they didn't even dare to argue over it or even apologize either. They knew they were in the wrong, which is why they got out of there right after that. And age aside, this person was even bigger than OP. So OP didn't do anything wrong at all, they were just protecting their daughter from an obvious threat. My father keeps hanging up the phone while I'm still talking, so I decided not to call him back, and that's why his house lost electricity for a while. I just read a post about someone's dad who never hangs up the phone himself. My dad's the exact opposite, and it reminded me of an incident that happened a few weeks ago. My dad disconnects the call once he's gotten what he wants out of it. No goodbye, no I'm hanging up now, no anything else. It drives me crazy. I take care of the utilities at his house, i.e. I pay his electric and phone bills. A few weeks ago it was time to pay the electricity bill, but I was having bank issues and the payment wasn't going through. I called him to let him know this issue and to ask if he would mind paying the bill himself this time, as it was the last day for payment. I'm not exaggerating when I say I had to call him 6 times to get just this one point across, because he kept hanging up thinking I was done speaking. I almost threw my phone at the wall, it was so frustrating. I think all he got from my call was, "Today is the last day to pay the bill," and he assumed that I was calling him to tell him that I had paid it. I was so frustrated at that point that I didn't call back. If he doesn't want to listen to what I have to say, he may as well bear the consequences of it. 2 weeks later, the electricity connection to his house got disconnected. He called me up shouting about unpaid bills. I calmly told him that I had called him about it, and since he kept disconnecting the numerous calls I placed, I assumed he had it handled. Anyways, it's almost festival season in my country, and I'm so busy that I won't be able to sort out his issue for at least another 2 weeks. He's going to have to figure it out himself. Have fun taking multiple trips to the government-run electricity board office, Dad. Edit to clarify a few things, and to stop hateful DMs. My culture is Indian. The festival season I spoke of is Diwali. I own a small business which is in high demand during Diwali, and I'm going to be working 10+ hours a day for the next 14 days. Weekends included. I am not off partying in music festivals as many of you seem to think. I did not text him because he does not read texts. If he gets a text, he will call that person, and then hang up on them too. It's true that 2 weeks is not enough time for anyone to cut off electricity, but my dad's connection was already on notice due to late payments for more than a year, and he already had the connection disconnected once. It's why I had taken over the payments since the past 3 months. I did not leave my dad with no electricity for 2 weeks, because he did go to the office and electricity will be restored by tomorrow. Alright guys, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Have an awesome day, take care, and I'll see you next time.